Hey friends, it's Russ here again, having more Daisy Lever gun fun, and I'm going to show you a little project that I have been working on, and it's been sitting in the to-do pile for a couple of years now. It seems that at one of the airgun shows, whenever the missus and I were over there, she came up to me and said, "Hey, look what I just bought." And I looked at it and said, "What's the deal with this?" And she said, "Well, I'm not sure what it is, but I like the fact that it has a sling on it, and I like the fact that it has these medallions on the stock." And I looked at this and I said, "My gosh, she bought a Defender rifle." You see what it has on the stock here, the embossed eagle, where it says Daisy Defender, and the eagle is holding the rifle in his talons right down here. Daisy air rifles, and it has the whole deal on there. On the opposite side, if you look, there it is. There's the Daisy pledge, and the picture of the young man holding the Daisy rifle, and it says Pledge of the Daisy Air Riflemen right across the top. And she saw that and she thought that was just the neatest thing. And she said, "Oh, look, this one comes with a sling on it." And then I started thinking to myself, she knows absolutely nothing of what this gun is. So, what was right with it? What was wrong with it? Well, it had the original cocking lever. I had to strip the paint off of it to be able to actually see the condition of it. And I think I may or may not repaint it. The stock was broken inside. Now we see that a lot. Here's an example of another one of those old stocks. And so often you either get cracks or actually pieces broken off the front. And that has to be rebuilt with compound and epoxy and so forth to be able to make the stock work. This one's had a hard life here. This one's been really beat up, even worse than the one on that rifle I just showed you. It does have the emblems on it, but something that these always seem to have whenever I see them, the little sliding door on the back is always missing, including this one. So, the things that were right about this gun and the things that this gun needed. Well, this is a Model 141 Defender. This gun is at least 70 years old. They only made these between, in here, I'll show you, right out of the old Daisy Collector's Guide, which I got right from the Daisy Museum. It says right here, the Model 141 Defender, New Daisy Repeater, 51 to 53, but it's not totally 53. If you'll notice, the blued finish was only done early in up to early 53, and this did have the blued finish on it. And they didn't start painting them until after the first work day, after the July 4th holiday in 53. So this gun is at least 70 years old, maybe older, up to 72 perhaps. The gun needed a forearm. Now, you would think that's pretty simple because this is one of those wide frame daisies and you can just take any old forearm and stick on there. Well, I did a little bit of research and I talked to some knowledgeable folks, and some of the folks who like to dabble in the particulars of each individual model gun, and I found out that the forearm came two styles. We had the smooth profile at the bottom, and we had the embossed checkering. And we have a lot of those on things like the 95 and so forth. And, well, I couldn't just grab one and stick on it. This is the closest one I had that would have worked. But, hey, it's the wrong color. Wouldn't you know that over time, Daisy used a number of different mixtures of their colors for depending upon what gun they're putting out and what factory the plastics were coming from at the time. Different runs, different lots. So I had to find one that was compatible with the existing buttstock on here. Okay. I found this one. It was pretty good, but wouldn't you know, it had all the checkering on it. So I wanted to take that off, and I found out that with these plastics, you can, using abrasives, using finer and finer abrasives from where you start. I started with files, then I went to nail files, and I went to steel wool, then I went to polishing compound, and I was able to wear this off totally. So this originally had the checkering on it, but as you see now, it's nice and smooth, and it has that satin sheen to it. I went over the buttstock with the same finishing type of abrasives, and it has a similar sheen to it, and so they match up pretty well color-wise and also texture-wise. Okay. The gun did have its original bluing on all the steel. However, it also came with a big ton of rust. So the bluing was eaten away and the steel was eaten away where the rust was. I did some, as much as I could, grinding and surface prep on this to be able to do a cold blue on it and try to bring it back to a worn look, because the gun is pretty old, and I think it came out pretty well. It also had its original flip sight where it has the peep sight or the notched V sight on it. Okay. And up here, how did I know it was a 41? Well, if you have 141, I'm sorry. If you look on here, it says model, you can just barely read it, 141 Daisy Defender force-fed repeater. Another thing that tipped us off is this was the gun, the Model 141 that used the force-fed shot tube. It had its original force-fed shot tube, and the force-fed shot tube even had its original retaining spring inside for the BBs. Now, I know a lot of folks will take these, and if they don't have the shot tube or if it's damaged in some way, they'll use a number 25 more modern shot tube and put it in there. But this one had its original one, so I wanted to be able to clean it up, put it back together. Inside, unfortunately, it needed a new force cup inside, compression cup. So I put that in there and was able to use the original spring. And to tell you the truth, I'm so happy that I was able to use the original spring, because the more I can keep this gun with its original parts, the better I like it. This strap was not a replacement. I don't know if you can see this, but look at the marks on it. It has rust spots. You can tell down here, let me get this over closer to us. Down here, this piece at one point in time had choked up on the strap all the way back to here, and then it was moved up. So there are rust stains on the strap. Now, what I could have done was used a new piece of strapping and the original metals. I could have taken the swivels off the ends, and I could have taken the adjuster and rebuilt it. But original straps for these guns are hard to find, and I was so pleased that this gun had that. So I'm keeping this original strap in its present condition because it deserves to have it on there. They're just so hard to come by. Making a new one, I think, would be a sacrilege at this point. So the other item that we had to deal with was that missing sliding door on the back. There are folks who actually make reproductions of these because they get lost so often. Well, what I did here is let me see if I can get it to loosen up. I still have to do a little bit of work on it. There we go. I made a sliding door for the back end out of a thin piece of wood, and I tapered the edges so it catches inside. And this is the little storage area. They call it a BB storage area. And I wouldn't want to pour BBs in there, but I think if you had a little bag with the BBs in it like they used to supply, I think you could drop that in there. And then this, of course, closes the hole up. Now, it doesn't say Daisy on it like it's supposed to. It's a little piece of wood, naturally. But that's just a way to keep it closed. So the gun had all its original screws, bolts, and nuts. I was really happy to see that. The only thing that I really wish I had was an original door on the back of here. But they're worse to come by than these slings are. So I like the way this turned out, to tell you the truth. And I showed it to my wife, and she said, "Oh, that's nice." Well, it's nice, but all she was interested in were the medallions on the buttstock and this sling. So now the gun actually does spit BBs, and it loads. It cocks pretty well. And I can't ask for anything more than that for a gun that age and trying to keep as much of it in its original condition. So there we have it, folks. If you have any comments or questions about the Defenders, there was a 140 Defender, and then later on they came up with these 141 and 142s. They're kind of neat. If you come across one, you might want to keep it. And if it's a total disaster, don't trash it. The parts are always good to have. All right, folks, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you get a chance, and let's hear some comments. Let's hear some good chatter about the Defender guns, because I think these are neat old guns, and everybody should own at least one of them. Have a good day.